All right, Knicks fans, we need to talk about Pacome Dadiet because I am genuinely running out of patience here, and I think a lot of you are too. Before I get into it, if you're new here, smash that subscribe button because we cover everything Knicks related, and honestly, this is one of those stories where I need you in the comments telling me if I'm being too harsh or if you feel exactly the same way I do. So here's the situation. Dadiet is out in Las Vegas right now playing Summer League basketball, and this is supposed to be his moment. This is supposed to be the summer where he shows the front office, shows Thibodeau's replacement, shows the fan base that the flashes of potential we keep hearing about are actually real. Instead, what we gotten? 16.5 point a game sounds fine on paper until you realize he's shooting under 40% from the field to get there, and get this, barely 15% from three. 15%. From a guy who was drafted specifically because of his shooting mechanics. Let that sink in for a second. This isn't a guy who was drafted for defense, or for playmaking, or for some intangible hustle factor. He was drafted because scouts loved his stroke. That was the selling point. And 4 years into whatever this development process is supposed to be, his career three-point percentage sits under 22%. If you're a Knicks fan, and that number doesn't make you want to throw your remote at the wall, I don't know what will. And look, I try to be fair on this channel. I don't like piling on young players just because it's easy content, but I have to bring up something that genuinely stuck with me. There was a story going around about an anonymous general manager somewhere else in this league, joking that he wouldn't trade a croissant for this guy. A croissant. Now, I don't know if that's fully true or just some spicy front office gossip, but the fact that a line like that is even circulating around the league tells you everything about how this kid is perceived outside of Madison Square Garden. That's not a good look. That's actually kind of embarrassing. If you're a Knicks fan trying to defend this pick, comment down below. Would you trade Dadiet for croissant right now? I want to see your answers because I have a feeling I know what most of you are going to say. Here's the thing that really gets me, though. It's not even just the shooting. Scouts have been saying for a while now that his motor just isn't there. The effort level isn't there. And when I hear that, my mind immediately goes to a name we all know too well around here, Kevin Knox. Another lottery pick. Another guy with a great frame and a smooth-looking jumper. Another guy who just never brought the physicality or the urgency that turns potential into production. I really do not want to be sitting here in 2 years having this same conversation about another wasted Knicks draft pick. But right now, that's exactly the trajectory we're on. And to his credit, Dadiet himself is at least saying the right things. He's talked about needing to play with more force, more physicality, being more efficient from three. He's mentioned studying Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, guys who do the little things right, guys who play off the ball and lock in offensively even when the shots aren't falling. That's the blueprint. Everybody in the building knows that's the blueprint. The problem is knowing the blueprint and actually executing it are two completely different things. And so far, actions are not matching the words. Let's talk numbers for a second, because this is where it gets real for Knicks fans watching the cap sheet. This guy is on a rookie deal, guaranteed a little over $3 million this coming season. But here's the part that should worry you. There's a team option worth about $5.3 million. That has to be decided by the end of October. $5 million for a bench guy who can't shoot, doesn't rebound at a high level, and hasn't shown consistent defensive impact. At this rate, there is genuinely no way this front office can justify picking up that option. And if they don't, guess what? Dadiet becomes trade bait or a free agent walking out the door next summer with basically nothing to show for 4 years of development. Think about that for a second. For years, this front office invested 4 years into this young man's development, gave him minutes under Thibodeau early in his rookie year before yanking him to the bench, started him in preseason last year under the new staff, watched him struggle overseas in Abu Dhabi. And there were even whispers around the league that last preseason showcase was less about developing him and more about dressing him up for a potential trade that never actually happened. Nobody wanted him then either. Now here we are again. If you're just as frustrated as I am watching this front office fumble around with draft development, drop a like on this video right now, because I want the algorithm to know that Knicks fans are paying attention to this stuff. We're not just blindly cheerleading everything that happens in the front office. Now, I will say this. In fairness, the Knicks organization does seem to finally be taking player development seriously this time around. They brought in Billy Lang specifically to work with these young guys after moving on from Thibodeau. And there's a whole young core here that desperately needs somebody to actually pop. Tyler Kolek, Mohamed Diawara, Tyler Nickel, Jack Kill, all these recent picks sitting there waiting for somebody, anybody, to prove this front office can still find and develop talent outside of trading for established stars. Because let's be honest, with this roster bumping right up against that dreaded second luxury tax apron, this team physically cannot keep operating only through big trades and big free agent signings. They need cheap, productive, homegrown players. That is not optional anymore. That is a financial necessity given where this roster spending is at. So Dadiet becoming something, anything, actually matters way more than casual fans realize. It's not just about one guy's career. It's about whether this front office's entire team-building philosophy going forward even works. But here's my honest, unfiltered opinion as a fan who has watched this exact movie before with too many Knicks lottery picks. Potential without production is just a nice story for draft night. At some point, and I mean right now this summer, these next few weeks in Vegas, the talk has to stop and the tape has to start backing it up. He's 20 years old. He's 6'9" with a picture-perfect release. Every single physical tool is sitting right there waiting to be used. There is no more excuse left for inconsistency, no more excuse for low motor, no more excuse for a 15% clip from deep. I want to see this kid prove me wrong. I genuinely do. Nobody wants to see a former first-round pick flame out, especially not with his franchise's recent history of exactly that happening over and over again. But wanting it and watching it actually happen on the court are two very different things, and right now, I am not seeing it. So tell me in the comments, are you still holding out hope for Pacome Dadiet, or is it time for the Knicks to cut their losses and move on this offseason? I really want to hear where you guys stand on this one, because the front office has a real decision to make before that October deadline, and honestly, I think the fan base is more split on this than people realize. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, drop a comment with your honest take, and subscribe so you don't miss the next update, because you know this Dadiet situation is going to keep developing all summer long. Until next time, let's go Knicks.